Hi, and I'm back in the workshop. Oh, I'm so happy to be here. Oh, you don't know how happy I am to be here and that this place is not flooded. It's such a huge relief that this place is not flooded. You don't know how grateful I am. Unfortunately, big areas of our region are flooded, and it's heartbreaking to see what are the effects of climate change. I mean, obviously we see them all over the world, but as I think we all know, when they just happen very close to you, you just feel them more. Obviously, we are still in a better position than most of the world to tackle them, so we are still in a very lucky position even if these things happen to us. But it's still heartbreaking to see families losing their homes and having, really having, I don't want to say their lives ruined, but losing a lot of what they care about. When we went last year, when we had the flood in May last year, we went to help some families, and it was heartbreaking to see like the garages, which is like one of those places where you keep your memories, your old pictures and your children's toys and all of that, seeing them completely covered in mud and having to throw them away. So yeah. Anyway, that being said, I'm really, really grateful to be back in my workshop and being able to work. Today I won't be working on my flowers, which I haven't been working on obviously because I haven't been here, but I'll be working on a commission of a ring, and it's a ring made. I can't really show the design to you because it hasn't been seen by the future owner, and it's a gift, but it's a ring that will be gifted for a pregnancy. So it's super special, and I also have to do it quite in time because you never know when the child is gonna come. It should come but at the end of October, so I have a lot of time, but still, who knows, maybe it will come early, and I don't want to be in that position. So anyway, I'm working with this rod, which is in 9-carat gold. We chose 9-carat because of the color, which is going to be very light, as you saw with those ones. And I have to, I have to mill it, so I'm going to go over there. And yes, I don't have my apron yet because I haven't sewn it, and yeah, I'm a bit of a tourist. Anyway, so today I wanted to talk about something that's really, really important for me, which is how my creativity is affected by hormones. And I don't only mean like, what's that? Something moved. My menstrual cycle, obviously for women or people with uteruses. Uteri? I don't know. Anyway, it does regulate their hormones, but men also have hormones, and whatever we do, I mean, our stress levels, and if we're happy, if we're sad, if whatever happened to us that day, everything is going to influence our creativity. So I wanted to talk about that because I think we think that creativity is something that you just have every day, it's like a skill, and in some ways it is, but I must admit that in my opinion, and at least in my brain, it doesn't really work like that. There are some days where I'm incredibly creative, and some other days where I'm just I'm very functional, and I want to organize stuff and know exactly what I have to do and plan everything. And those are not the days where when I'm the most creative. It just isn't, And it's fine. I'm going to wait for that to come back to a normal temperature, because having a lot of copper if I don't want to quench it. So I think that hormones, which are the way our brain and our body reacts to stuff, and they regulate our emotions. So it's not only linked to the menstrual cycle. The nice thing about the menstrual cycle is that it's a cycle, and so it's much easier to understand when you have this hormones fluctuation. But that doesn't mean that every human being doesn't have human fluctuations. It's just that the ones linked to the menstrual cycle are more like reliable because you know what's going to happen once you start noticing it. So it's just easier, I think. But I think it's really important as a creative person to recognize when you're in a state of like creativity and when you're not. To me, it's really important. Like, for example, these days, like I know that from like yesterday, I can feel my mood, and unless something really weird happens, I know I'm gonna be quite creative. And that's why, like last night I went to bed and I literally dreamed, like, not dreamed, you know when you're like starting to sleep but you're not completely asleep, and you like see stuff but it doesn't really make sense, and you're kind of dreaming but you're kind of conscious. I don't know, in that state I was visualizing, let's say, like to make something huge, something made of wood and like dried flowers and feathers and gold and silver, and doing like a big art piece, which I've never done. I would love to do it, honestly, because now I've been in contact and I've been doing these applications for these prizes, and I think I'm like accepting a bit more the fact that I don't want to be only a jeweler in my life, that I don't want to be like a commercial jeweler, but I am an artist and I want to be an artist, so that I would like to have the freedom to experiment and really like let my mind go and be free. So I think I'm leaning into that a bit more. And so now I know that this week or so I'm going to be like full on creative, and that's great. It doesn't mean I'm going to be like that all the time, but I know that like with a certain amount of reliability I am like that these days. So, and that's great. And as I said, I know that also because I'm a woman and it's more reliable. But once you understand what the clues are, then I think you can do it as a man as well. It just takes a bit more effort to recognize what's happening in your body and why your body is reacting that way. I just think it's, sorry, I need to hammer this because it needs to be straight when it goes through the mill. Otherwise it will be all wonky when it comes out. We really don't want that. Sorry for all these noises, but now it's kind of straight. So I have to heat it again. So what are the ways I know that I'm creative? So one of them, I already told you, is just that I can see with my mind's eye, I just see more stuff. So I see things more vividly when I'm in a creative mood, let's say, and I have more ideas. I feel like I could like do all of or whatever idea comes to my mind, which sometimes is good, sometimes it means that I just do too much stuff at once, which I mean can be problematic, at least for me. But so yeah, I can feel my brain when I'm in this mood, my brain going like at 200 miles per hour, and I'm happier usually when I'm in this mood, or maybe I'm in this mood because I'm happier. I'm less moody, I'm less bothered by stuff, so whatever's happening doesn't bother me that much, and I'm just overall like more optimistic kind of person when I'm in this state. And it's not it's not always the same. Sometimes I'm like, I said in another video that, sorry, I said in another, can't speak. I said in another video that I write, and that's a thing that I do when like I'm really, really moody, when I'm sad and moody and I feel like the world is crumbling around me. Those are the moments when I really need to write, and that's also creative, but I'm the most visually creative. Also, when I'm happier, when I'm more relaxed, and also when I see brighter colours. And I don't know if that's the same for everyone, but like when there is sunshine and the colours are brighter, I also have brighter dreams, and I see things with my mind's eye much better, if that makes sense. So I'm really good at visualizing stuff. I'm really, like these earrings that I'm making, I know exactly how I want them to be. I just see them. If I close my eyes, I just see them. I'm really good at that. I'm really good at visualizing 3D objects. I can like visualize them and turn them around in my head, like in every kind of sense, and see how they look from each side, which is very useful in my job, honestly. And when the colors around me are more vivid, so like during the summer when there is sunshine, or like today, it has been honestly a lovely day after the 2-3 days of rain and gloom that we had. I'm just much more creative, and I think there are some, there are clues that let you understand that you're in that mood. And I think it's very important for people who are creative, or for people who want to be creative, to just use those times and make good use of them, because creativity, who knows if it's gonna last forever, who knows what's gonna be like for your brain in like 20 years. So I think we need to harness them and be happy and grateful that we have these moments. And the more we can recognize them, the more we can use them to our advantage, which is what I do. So I think, as I said, for women, it's a bit more, it corresponds a little bit more to how your cycle is going. So for example, week 1, it's when I'm the most creative. Week 2, I'm like jumping around and loving every moment of it. Then week 3, I start to go down, and week 4, I'm like a mess. Well, not a mess, but I really need to have everything a bit more structured and know what I'm gonna do without having to be necessarily like super creative. I don't mind if I have to make some decisions. That's absolutely fine. I'm not like a different person. It's just how my brain works. So I try to do my best job accordingly, which I think is fine. And nobody else honestly needs to think otherwise. But I think it's the same for every human being. It's just about knowing who you are and how your brain works. That's the only thing. I think I'm gonna make it a bit slimmer. I think that's the only really relevant thing, that it's about knowing yourself. So I think, sorry, I have to, I made this rod a bit thinner because I thought 2 millimeters was going to be the width, but it's actually very big. So I made it to 170, which looks just much better. I can see it on my finger, it just looks much better, but I have to cut it to the right length. And now I have to change my wonderful data, because it's not going to be 4 millimeters, but it's going to be 3.4. Okay. I just had to, sorry, I have my table over there because I need to cut a bit of this and continue to mill the rest of it. Anyway, as I was saying, I just think that each one of us has a best moment in a day or in a week or in a month or in a year, whatever, when they are the most creative, and we should use that. Like, for example, I'm most creative in the mornings or in the evenings. After lunch, there's no way I have a creative thought in my mind. But also, if I want to be creative first thing in the morning, either I have nothing to do, which is absolutely super rare, unfortunately, or I need to force myself to think that those things that I have to do are not super relevant or super... Whoops. What happened here? My light just went off. Whoops, I don't know why. Anyway. I have to force myself into thinking that, because otherwise I'll just do like my emails and do all of that, and those will absolutely, completely kill my creativity in every possible way. So I'm keeping this a bit longer because I have a lot of it. It's not going to be a huge ring. So I don't need all of this. But yeah. I think as creative people, being creative is also just like everything else, is something you get used to. And the more you do it, the better you are at doing it, and the better you are at recognizing also when your work is good and when your work isn't, because I can force myself into being creative every day of the week, but some ideas just don't work. Sometimes I really try to push myself, but there's no way that idea will work. Like, no freaking way. I try really hard, but nope. It's just not gonna happen. So, yeah. I think it's also a way of getting to know myself, which I think is very important for me, at least. And getting to know when I work best. And again, it doesn't mean that other times I cannot work or I won't perform in the same way. It will just take a bit more time, or I will be not as well disposed. Is that a word in English? I'm not sure about that. But this is the way I personally see it, and I think we all have clues that we can follow to understand when we are the most creative. Like, for example, I'm the most creative when I'm alone. Having people around doesn't help my creativity at all. Having distractions, obviously, like phone, my iPad, it doesn't help unless I'm in a very, very, very creative state and have nothing to do, absolutely like nothing to do. And in that case, I can just, it has happened to me that I was like on Pinterest and I saw something that I really liked, and then I started just sketching and earrings popped in my mind. That has happened, but it's more of a rarity. It's not like the usual way my mind works, let's say. So, you know, I think it's like giving your mind and body space to be creative. I think it's really important. I would like to say that I have like, I said like 20,000 times in this video. I'm so sorry, but I would like to say that I take 2 hours a day just to be creative. Unfortunately, I don't have the luxury to do that, but the more you do it, the more you're going to be able to do it. And I think other things can really help, or at least have helped in my case. Things like visualizing stuff in my mind, just checking all the details of anything you're looking at. So checking how beautiful, like how's the light outside. If the light is beautiful, like why is it beautiful? What is it hitting? what angle, what color it has. You know, getting to understand all those details is going to create, I think, a mind that is more prone to creativity. So I think we can do, like on days when I'm really creative, I do it with literally everything I see. So if I'm watching a movie, I do it with that. I try to check like the composition and the colors and how the director thought about the scene, stuff like that. I really try to understand all of those details, and I try to do the same with music, art, whatever happens in my way that day. And I really try to harness it, you know, and be intentional with it, focusing on the details, not only accepting that they're there, but focusing on the details, focusing on the things that I like, understanding what I like, what I don't like, and when I have an idea, just let my brain go. This is still a bit too thick. And I really like, I cherish it. I cherish when my mind is eager to tell me something that I haven't rationally thought of. I think it's a gift. It's a gift that my mind gives me, and it's wonderful. It just is, in my opinion. Oops. Again, there is something wrong with my cables under here. I moved these because of flooding, and now there is something that is not working well. I'll have to sort them. Not now. I don't want to sort them now. I don't know, but I'll have to sort them eventually. So I have to create the seat for this stone. This is a wonderful tourmaline that I bought from Brazil. I don't know why I'm speaking like this today. I'm sorry. I feel like my tongue weighs 200 kilos. Anyway, this is a tourmaline that comes from Brazil, and it comes from a company who is family owned, and they own the mine in Brazil, and they also cut it in Brazil, and then it's imported by a German company who I buy it from. And I really love the fact that they're cut in the same place where they're mined, because cut gemstones are much more expensive than rough gemstones, and it's really important that the biggest chunk of what of the money I give this company goes to the country of origin rather than the European importers. And at least that's very important for me, and this is one of the reasons why I chose this specific company. And yeah, this is a tourmaline, which is the birthstone of October, so you know. And I have to do a very normal seat. It's going to be bezel set. It's just that because I thought about doing a bezel and then cutting the seat out, but actually I think I'm going to make a double bezel, because it's just going to be easier and the stone is going to sit better on it than if I do just a normal bezel. And also this is going to be really hard to bend. So I'm going to mill this some more and make it very thin, because basically to set a stone you need the stone. I'm going to use this as stone. So you need the stone, and then you need something that's going to stop the stone from sliding. So either you can have something that is like this, that's V-shaped, and so obviously the stone won't fall. But if you have something that is not V-shaped, so is like this, to keep the stone from falling, you will need something that is going to make a little shelf. So something, like this. Doesn't need to go all the way through, but it can be even a small shelf like that. And so what I'm going to do is that I'm going to take this piece of metal, make it much thinner so that I can do a tube and then another smaller tube inside, and in this way, hopefully you're going to see, and so you have them that are one inside the other, and so the gemstone is going to fit inside the biggest one, but it's going to stop on the smallest one, and so I don't have to carve a perfectly shaped like little shelf. And it's better because this is quite thick and it's really hard, so it would have been harder to make this in this size, which is quite small, perfectly round. I hope that makes sense for somebody. But yeah, and as you can see, I had an idea and I changed it, because that's how the work of an artisan is, in my opinion. And so yeah, anyway, I'm gonna do this and then I'm gonna start doing the bezel for that gemstone. Oops. And I'm gonna go on tomorrow, because now it's like Friday evening and we had a very, very interesting week. So we're gonna leave the workshop now and go to see some friends, because you know, who are normal people. And so I'm gonna heat this up and I'm gonna say goodbye, and I'm gonna see you on Monday. I hope you have an absolutely lovely weekend, and hopefully I'm gonna see you on Monday. So bye. I have to. Bye.